McCall, and
I'm Kevin Craig. Some of you were in here a little bit ago when I get introduced.
Yep, and we have the S4 group with my home group. And last year, I was looking for something to bring to our agents. How many people in here are newer agents, like less than a year? Okay, awesome. So most of you have been doing this a little while, or at least over a year, and have a little bit of experience. So with our team, most of the team, they do about $5 million and up, so they are senior agents, and I really wanted to bring them something valuable around the holiday season, around Christmas. We decided to give them the gift of education and an experience instead of some S4 hats, which was the other alternative. So we went ahead and started looking for somebody that could come teach something different to our group, and we found an old friend of ours, Ryan Seacrest. He used to be a team leader here locally in the Valley, and he's with Sotheby's now. And he talked to us about this book called Ninja Selling by Larry Kimball. And he came out and taught some of the concepts of the class to our team for a one-day workshop. And our team focuses on business-to-business referrals and relationships. And we had never seen an actual system. Some of you might be familiar with Buffini. Has anybody heard of Brian Buffini in here? That was the best system I had ever seen with business-to-business and the referral system until we came across Ninja Selling, because Ninja Selling actually puts the science behind the system. So with that, let's see what's next here. I just told you what Ninja Selling is it's focusing on attracting people instead of going after them and selling them. So Kevin, do you want to come up and talk about?
All right, so very briefly, it's almost easier to talk about what Ninja Selling isn't, and then you can better understand what it is. And those, how many people were just in here like 10 minutes ago when we had the mastermind? Okay, so most. Okay, so I don't need to repeat a lot of that all over again. So we just really worry about everybody getting us realtors a bad rap about being telemarketers, cold calling, door knocking, filling people's mailboxes up with flyers that they're not going to read. A lot of people open up their mail over the top of their garbage can and get rid of those flyers. There's so much that going on, and in each one of those cases, everybody's able to sell you something. They're able to sell you a program that gets phone numbers for people with expires or people that have for sale by owners. You have to pay for that. They have people that will sell you different dialer programs to be able to automatically dial those folks so that you can be more efficient as you're calling. The people that will sell you programs to be able to put together the marketing for farming and that kind of thing. This is basically all about not having to spend money on stuff. There may be an initial investment to go buy the book. It's like 25 bucks. Go buy the book, Ninja Selling book. But we're not up here to sell you anything. I'd mentioned that we're going to ultimately try to have an implementation that will be, or installation, I'm sorry, for my home group. That would be the only thing that's got a cost to it. Everything else is just what you do. It's not what you buy. It's not what you spend. It's what you do. It's a system for doing things. So it's more about what it's not. And I'm assuming that most of you are in here because either you don't want a cold call or that's something that you're really just not comfortable with. I'm just curious, because I asked this in a lot of classes, is there anybody in here that likes getting telemarketing calls in the evening? And don't be ashamed if you are, because there's usually one person in the class. Anybody like getting those? Are you raising your pen because you do?
Well, no, I mess around with them, but like I don't actually.
Okay, all right. We love messing with them, but yeah. But usually in a class, there's like a person that says, yeah, I don't mind getting those calls, and the reason could be they might have an opportunity that they might not know of otherwise. It might be something that's a really good deal, and at least they need to hear about it, which is kind of legitimate. But the point is, it's a numbers game. There might be one in the room. Well, we don't have enough people in this room to have the one. But that's kind of the point. How many people do you have to call before you find the one that doesn't want to hang up on you? And then what kind of ratios are there behind all these numbers? Well, the National Association of Realtors, oh, it's up there, yay! NAR actually did a study and put up what the results were, what the ratios are for different types of marketing. And you can see that direct mail, 2,000 to 1. So if you send out 2,000 pieces of mail, you've got a chance of getting a lead. Again, this is for a survey. Some people would argue this. I had somebody say, well, I want to argue this internet lead thing because we use a bunch of different internet leads and we spend a whole lot of money and our numbers are better than that. It's okay, but the point is you have to spend a whole lot of money to get numbers that are better than that. But if you don't spend a whole lot of money, that's pretty much what you can expect. It's about 1,600 to 1. Cold calling, door knocking, same type of thing. They're just not very predictable. We start changing right here with the ratios getting a little bit better when it comes to friends, but still friends, 50 to 1. Why would you think that those numbers are still high like that? What's the problem? We sort of talked about that a little bit in the mastermind.
They forget you're an agent.
They forget you're an agent. You don't tell them you're an agent. You don't stay in front of them. Somebody else happens to mention it, and they become top of mind. So, yeah, we discussed that the last time around. Even though they're your friends, a lot of them say, oh, I didn't realize you were doing real estate. Sign calls, 20 to 1. It gets a little bit better because these are at least people that are somewhat interested in real estate. They're making a call off of a sign. Open houses, even better, 15 to 1, because now you got face-to-face with somebody. Office walk-ins. You have any places that you know of? Anybody know of an office where you get walk-in traffic, where people walk in and say, I want to get more information about buying a house?
Yes, I do. The S4 group.
Loaded question. All right. We brought some of that back. I mean, we used to have, when I first started in real estate, we had what was called floor time. Agents got to sit floor time. Remember that? And people would come in and inquire with a newspaper article or whatever, and whoever was assigned to floor time got the client that day. If it was somebody that called in, they got the client that day. So we put together an office that goes back to having old-fashioned floor time right on Main Street in Scottsdale. So people from all over the world walk in, and if they walk in, they've probably got an interest in real estate. So far, like in our time there, you said 3 to 5 million in walk-in traffic. So and the average price point was...
Well, it's been either 400,000 or a million.
One or the other.
Anywhere in there, yeah.
But,
so average would be 700.
But anyways, these numbers start getting a whole lot better. And now look at this, past clients, 5 to 1 ratio, if you can keep a good relationship with them. But that's one of the things we also talked about in the mastermind, is too often we lose contact with these people. And then the absolute best, which is the reason why I'm thinking most of you are here and what Ninja Selling is all about, is the referrals. And punch the next button. So this is what I did mention before too. There's 2 different types of marketing. There's pursuing business and there's attracting business. And you can see pretty clearly where the line is drawn. Everything up here is chasing business. This is all about chasing the deal. Some people are very, very proficient at this, very successful at it. I know people that have great businesses that do this up here, but they're the first ones to admit that it's churn and burn. There are no relationships. They're just trying to get a deal. As soon as they get the deal, that they're on to the next one. They don't follow up with them. They're never trying to get any repeat business. It's just churn and burn, and they're constantly having to find new business. That's all if you're pursuing. And every time, since nobody raised their hand in here that you like telemarketers, I'm assuming you probably don't like people that come ring your doorbell that want to sell you a different type of cable TV or a new security system or whatever. You're probably the type of people in here that look out the peephole and you see a salesman and maybe you don't answer the door. You're distancing yourself from those people because they're pursuing you. You didn't invite them over. You see that they're approaching you and you distance yourself. Maybe you do open the door, but I bet you a lot of you don't. Okay, same thing with all the cold calling, door knocking, say up here, all pursuing business, whereas down here, all of these are people that typically are coming to you. If your friends know that you're in a real estate and you've maintained a relationship with them, you're going to be attracting them. They're going to come back to talk to you. Sign calls are people that are interested in you. They're calling you. Open houses, they're there because they're interested in real estate. Somebody brought up a really good point the other day about our weather. We always say things slow down during the summer here because it gets super hot and nobody's around. And I was talking to a salesman on a car lot, and I said, I bet you guys have the same kind of problem that we have, where during the summer I bet that things are really slow out here. He says, yeah, but the difference is in the summer when somebody's on the lot looking at a car, they're a serious buyer. They don't just spend their time out there when it's 114 degrees. And I thought, that's really true. The people that are driving around, that are doing the open houses, stuff like that, when it's 110 outside, those are serious people. So yeah, you might not have as many numbers when it comes to open houses and stuff during the summer, but you've got a higher percentage of serious buyers that are out there during this time of the year. So people that tell you don't even bother having an open house because it's going to be really slow, don't really get this. Office walk-ins, again, this is kind of rare, but those are better, way better ratios. The referrals down here is what we're going to talk all about. How do you get the referrals? How do you get more people that want to be interested in what you're all about and come to you and send their clients to you? And what we're going to try to do, keep in mind, as I said last time, we took a four-day course, and we got it in one full day, like way full day. But now we're trying to take a 4-day thing, and we're going to turn it into like a 1 hour to give everybody a taste of it. So it doesn't mean everybody's going to walk out of here all ninja certified, know everything. You're going to know all the key points, and you'll know what questions to ask, and you'll know about the book to go read and the installation if you want to attend. But this is just to give you a brief overview and see what kind of an interest we've got as a brokerage, so that we can go ahead and try to schedule something later on. Okay, Jenny.
Yeah. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Who here believes in the positive thinking movement? Have you all heard of that? Be positive, think positive. Do you believe that when you are happy, you attract other people and they want to be around you, and that's what we should be working for if we're going to be in a sales business. So we're going to show you a quick video. His name is Sean Eckert. It's a TED Talk, and it is about a Harvard study on positive, thinking positive, and what that does. And forgive us if the technology doesn't work.
Kelly promised.
Kelly promised.
When I was 7 years old, my sister was just 5 years old. We were playing on top of a bunk bed. I was 2 years older than my sister at the time. I mean, I'm 2 years older than her now, but at the time that meant she had to do everything that I wanted to do, and I wanted to play war. So we were up on top of our bunk beds, and on one side of the bunk bed, I had put out all my G.I. Joe soldiers and weaponry, and on the other side were all my sister's Milos and ponies, and ready for a cavalry charge. There are differing accounts of what actually happened that afternoon, but since my sister is not here with us today, let me tell you the true story. Which is, my sister is a little bit on the clumsy side, and somehow, without any help or push from her older brother at all, suddenly Amy disappeared off the top of the bunk bed and landed with us crashed on the floor. And I nervously peered over the side of the bed to see what had befallen my fallen sister, and saw that she landed painfully on her hands and knees on all fours on the ground. I was nervous because my parents had charged me with making sure that my sister and I played as safely and as quietly as possible. And seeing as how I had accidentally broken Amy's arm just 1 week before, heroically pushing her out of the way of an oncoming imaginary sniper bullet, for which I have yet to be thanked. I was trying as hard as I could. She didn't even see it coming. I was trying as hard as I could to be on my best behavior, and I saw my sister's face this wail of pain and suffering and surprise, threatening to erupt from her mouth and threatening to wake my parents from the long winter's nap for which they had settled. So I did the only thing my little frantic 7-year-old brain could think to do to avert this tragedy. If you have children, you've seen this hundreds of times before. I said, Amy, wait, don't cry, don't cry. Did you see how you landed? No human lands on all fours like that. Amy, I think this means you're a unicorn. Now that was cheating, because there's nothing in the world my sister would want more than not to be Amy the her 5-year-old little sister, but Amy the special unicorn. Of course, this was an option that was open to her brain at no point in the past. And you could see on my poor, manipulated sister's face conflict. As her little brain attempted to devote resources to feeling the pain and suffering and surprise she just experienced, or contemplating her newfound identity as a unicorn. And the latter won out. Instead of crying, instead of ceasing our play, instead of waking my parents with all the negative consequences that would have ensued for me, instead of smiles spread across her face, and she scrambled right back up onto the bunk bed with all the grace of a baby unicorn. With one broken leg. What we stumbled across at this tender age of just 5 and 7, we had no idea at the time, was something that was going to be at the vanguard of a scientific revolution occurring 2 decades later in the way that we look at the human brain. What we had stumbled across is something called positive psychology, which is the reason that I'm here today and the reason that I wake up every morning. When I first started talking about this research outside of academia, out with companies and schools, the very first thing they said to never do is to start your talk with a graph. The very first thing I wanted to do is start my talk with a graph. This graph looks boring, but this graph is the reason that I get excited to wake up every morning. And this graph doesn't even mean anything. It's fake data. What we found is if I got this data back sitting you here in the room, I would be thrilled, because there's very clearly a trend that's going on there, and that means that I can get published, which is all that really matters. The fact that there's one weird red dot that's up above the curve, there's one weird in the room, you know who you are, I saw you earlier. That's no problem. That's no problem, as most of you know, because I can just delete that dot. I can delete that dot because that's clearly a measurement error. And we know that's a measurement error because it's messing up my data. So one of the very first things we teach people in economics and statistics and business and psychology courses is how in a statistically valid way do we eliminate the weirdos? How do we eliminate the outliers? So that we can find the line of best fit, which is fantastic if I'm trying to find out how many Advil the average person should be taking. 2, 1 positive email, praising or thanking somebody in their social support network. And by doing these activities, and by training your brain, just like we train our bodies, what we found is we can reverse the formula for happiness and success, and in doing so, not only create ripples of positivity, but create a real revolution. Thank you very much.
How about that? Isn't that cool? We can actually change our brains. So you guys, I'm in foster care, so I have seen this. It's real. We can actually change our
Can
brains.
you tell me who that was that we were just watching?
Yeah, Sean Ackerd.
Acher, A-C-H-E-R, I think.
A-C-H-E-R.
A-C-O-R.
Thank you.
Good. A-C-H-O-R.
A-C-O-R.
The Happiness Advantage. Yeah, you can find it. So let's get some feedback. Tell me what you guys thought. Anything you learned or ahas.
It's always good to be positive. We gotta look on the bright side.
Mm-hmm.
It shows. People see it. A smile or whatever it is. I mean,
Do you guys do those things though? Do you get up every day and journal and exercise and write thank you notes and do all those things?
Not all of them.
Exercise.
Yeah. Like usually we do 1 or 2 of them, but all of them feels a little bit like a lot, right? But all right, so victim versus player. We're just going to kind of back this up a little bit. So our emotional energy. So the left side is going to be the negative energy and the right side is the positive energy. So high negative, well that would be when what I call it, mommy flips her lid. And we go from our conscious brain to our lizard brain and we get very angry. People that stay up here end up with PTSD, depression, things like that. We cannot live up there. Thank you.
How
Right.
about that way?
Yeah. High positive. High positive is when we feel really good. And I really feel like that's where we want to be. when we hear about I just want to be happy and we think about being happy, I really think that that's the quadrant that we're thinking about when we think about being happy. But it's also not positive to be there all the time. It will exhaust your body. We can't live there either. So we have the low negative, and then we have let's just go to the low positive, which the low negative is obviously, I don't know if anybody knows a Debbie Downer in their life, someone who's just kind of doesn't have a lot of energy and always sees the glass half empty. And then low positive is just basically you're doing your thing, right? I think most of us can live there, especially if we believe in thinking positive. So the left side is where victims live. Victims are, everything is someone else's fault. My foster son, he's in a lot of trauma right now. He is an absolute victim. He will be riding his quad and hit a tree, and that tree knocked him over. And I'm like, no, buddy, you hit the tree. The tree didn't hit you. But that's how he walks through life. Everything happens to him, and it is always someone else's fault or something else's fault. And I'm sure everybody in this room knows someone like that. And then on the right-hand side are where the players live. Those are the people that they are accountable, they are humble, they get things done. If they fail, they get up, they move, they go. And that's where we want to be, and that's where the ninja systems teach you where to go. Thank you. So step 1 of it, it's called the Ninja 9. The Ninja system has 9 steps, and the first step, it sounds super easy, it's to show up, right? And showing up means wherever you need to go to start your day. Some people can work really well from home, but I was talking to one of my agents yesterday, and she was like, geez, I worked from home yesterday and it was noon and I was like, what did I do today? Because she threw in some laundry and I won't tell you who it was. No, she threw in some laundry and she got sidetracked putting this away or putting that away. But wherever it is that you need to go, I told her, I said, why don't you come into the office? And she's like, well, that's worse. And I said, okay, then go to Starbucks. Where do you need to go to get these things done? And step 2 would be gratitude. So really just being grateful. I know no matter what is going on in anybody's life, something good is happening, because there is never negative without positive, and there's also never positive without negative. So really focusing on the gratitude and having a gratitude journal. I'm a big Oprah fan, and Oprah says that the number one thing that she did to change her life was to start a gratitude journal. And I've heard that from more than one person. I really have. It changes the brain. And then personal notes. So a lot of people in this business, I feel like we as agents, we get personal notes because we have so many great people serving us in the home inspection industry and the home warranty company. But in the real world, people don't get handwritten notes very often at all. And it really does mean a lot. And also by writing them, it makes you feel good too. The hot list. So we all have clients that we're currently working with, and how often do they hear from you? I hate it when my client calls me before I have a chance to call them. So the Ninja 9, step 3, is to focus on your hot list. Who are you in transaction with right now? And reaching out to them and making sure that they hear from you before you hear from them. And then the warm list. Who here knows what a warm list is? What? What's a warm list?
People you've met, people you know.
People.
Or through someone. You don't have to have met them, but.
Yeah, that's your database. But this is a little more interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's an interesting concept. These are people who want to buy and sell in the next 6 months, but they don't know it yet. They're thinking about it, right? So pay attention. A lot of us are on social media, Facebook. Look at all the people whose kids are graduating. You know, we just passed May. People who, empty nesters, having babies, getting married, getting divorced. In the Ninja book, there's literally a list of life changes that happen, and it's a long list. It's like 25, 30 things, which I was really fascinated by, and I love that. 25, 30 things that actually happen in a person's life that cause them to start thinking about moving. So if you can pinpoint who those people are and start focusing on them more, calling them a little bit more than you normally would, that's the warm list. Customer calls. So that's the customer calls are the people that you are in transaction with, and we already went over that. They're also on your hot list.
Can I tell a quick little
You
story?
got to tell a story.
Can I tell a story?
Let me see. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I got time to tell a story, so I'm going to go back to this one list for So, in this, when we get into the whole Ninja, and you're doing the whole installation, or you're reading the book, they talk about something that we think is kind of silly at first, but it's so apropos, I guess. It's about the magic wand. They say, if you had a magic wand, what would your house look like, or where would you want to live, or so on. And that comes up a lot all through Ninja. So again, we're giving you like this much of Ninja. But in this with the warm list, one of the things that Jenny's talked about is looking at things that are pleasure and pain that happen in people's lives that may make them think about possibly buying a house subconsciously, but they're not really consciously thinking about it. So we took some of our team through this, as I mentioned before. We had one of our agents come back, was talking to a human resource manager that we're dealing with a corporate relocation. And she asked this person, where are you living now, and so on and so on. And then she said, just right out of Ninja. So if you had a magic wand and you could live anywhere, are you currently in the house that you think that you would like to stay in? And she said, no, I'm actually not, and here are all the reasons why. I've got stairs, and as I get older, I decided I probably want a one-story house. And she went through naming off all the different things that she would probably change about her current living situation. Next thing you know, our agent, Kim, is working with this person, sending her copies of properties that are available. She never came out and told Kim that she was interested in looking for another house. It all just came through conversation and asking her the simple question, if you had a magic wand, what would your living situation look like? What kind of house would you buy? My wife and I, after I came home from Ninja, we did the same thing. We sat down and said, okay, if we had a magic wand, is this where we would want to end up, or what would we change? And then we started going through the little list of all the things we liked about our house, the things we didn't like about our house, the location, and so on. All of a sudden your mind starts thinking, and when you take your clients through an exercise like that from your warm list, it's going to flush out people that maybe you're thinking about doing a transaction that you would have never found otherwise because they didn't even know that they were thinking about doing the transaction. Make sense?
Yeah, and he told a story about a woman who, if you know your clients really, really well, and you go through a house that you can like pop up somebody that you know would love it and call them, and that's what she did. She went through a home, and the people she was showing it to, they weren't interested, but she thought of these other clients of hers, past clients, and she called them and said, I have a house that I think you would love. Their house wasn't even for sale. They hadn't even thought about moving, but she took them through it, and they ended up buying it and selling their house. So it's amazing when you are constantly thinking about people and ask those questions to really get to know them well. You can really sell a lot more real estate. Yeah.
Customer calls.
Customer calls. Okay, so this is Kevin's. Kevin, real estate reviews. Who here uses the RPR? That's awesome.
Higher hands and hold them for a second. Let's see.
That's
So
like half the room.
More than half the room.
So do you know how special you are? Because NAR says 3% of realtors use it. 3%. And the RPR is actually used by appraisers in other states, and it's the same system we have. So it's actually an appraisal system. And I had somebody on Facebook the other day looking for somebody to appraise her house, and a lot of realtors were like, I can run comps. And what I said is, I have access to an appraisal system. I'm happy to do that for you. Because it is. That's what it is. So Kevin's going to talk a little bit more about that because he runs a ton of them for our attorneys and our professional referral guys.
And those of you that don't know what it is, and I can give you a little brief example of it, but this might be an opportunity for us to schedule something with my home group to get somebody like Amanda Briggs or Dane Briggs to come in here and teach a class about RPR.
Dane doesn't teach anymore.
He doesn't teach
We know
anymore.
that.
We have to do Amanda. Okay, we got to do Amanda.
Yeah, he's a homie now.
Okay. So anyways, those of you that don't know about RPR, you have access to RPR. It's right on the MLS. You have to look through the menu, but you can go ahead and attach it to the top of your screen so you've got access to it all the time. And as Jenny mentioned, it's an appraisal system in most other states that's used by appraisers. They just don't use that system in Arizona for the appraisers. They use a different type of program. But you have access to properties throughout the entire country with RPR. And the thing that's really neat about doing these real estate reviews is that this is part of Ninja. They talk about RPR reports in Ninja. If you don't know how to do RPR reports, you need to learn how to run RPR reports. It's not super user-friendly and user-intuitive, like you're not just going to be able to probably get on and figure it out, but other people that understand it can certainly show you how to do it. Once you start doing it, then this is what you're going to use for everything. This has been our question.
I was just going to say, their help center, or the people that are on RPR are so helpful. My clients that have called in to get help, they'll stay on the phone with them for like an hour.
Good to know.
Through it, so.
Oh, wow. You mean your clients call them?
So I'm with Lawyer's Title.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Okay. So
Okay,
your
good.
realtors, yeah.
Yes, my realtor.
Yes.
Sorry, I should have said that.
Well, this is a copy of an RPR report. This is actually a home here that belongs to somebody that's maybe wearing a blue dress standing next to me. And we've made, I don't know how many hundreds of copies of this. In fact, Madison made a whole bunch of copies of it. And this is one of the shorter reports that's about 30-some pages long. But there was a time that I was working with professional referrals when I'm talking about attorneys, financial planners, fiduciaries, people within the senior living industry. And when I say attorneys, we're dealing with bankruptcy, divorce, probate, trusts, all those different things. And I had these cute little M&M cases. I went to the Container Store and I bought these little things with M&Ms. And I filled them up with M&Ms. And on the top label, I put something like these were anti-stress pills for those that are in the legal industry or whatever, something kind of cute. My wife made little bows to put on all of them. They were, I don't know, $5, $6 or whatever to produce one of these things. And I would take them around, meet with attorneys. I would do pop buys. Those of you that are familiar with Buffini understand the pop buy concept. You just pop by. You put together a list of the clients that you're going to visit in a particular day or week, and then when you're in the area, you just pop in, you drop off something of some type of value, have a conversation with them. And I've always been a big proponent of this because when I would go into law firms, if I walked in, even if I knew the attorney and I walked in and I said, I want to talk to Mr. Jones, usually he's in court, he's with a client, he's on the phone, he's not here today. But if I walked in with something that I was going to drop off, everybody came out of the woodwork. Not only would I get to talk to Mr. Jones, get to talk to Mr. Jones and all his staff and all the other attorneys that were in the office. So I always took in something with me. Well, when we first learned about RPR reports, even before we'd gone to Ninja, we thought this is something that would be of real value to those type of business professionals because they all have people that they kind of counsel about different things going on in their life, and whether it's divorce or bankruptcy or trust information, they're always going to want to know values of homes. So we thought, let's go in and drop off some of these M&Ms, and let's also drop off some RPR reports and kind of explain to the attorneys what we could put together for them and their clients. So Jenny and I made a list, some of our top attorneys. By the third one that we went into, Jenny turns to me in the car and she says, you can forget about the M&Ms. They don't care about the M&Ms. They're going crazy about this. They're going absolutely nuts about this. Got an email yesterday afternoon from an attorney who's wanting to sell his own house, wants to know, can you put one of these together for me? In fact, I would say the first few that we started putting together for attorneys really ended up being for the attorneys for their own homes or for their cabins they had up north or whatever that they wanted to see what the value was. And this is something that it's more than what a typical agent can provide or does provide. These are also admissible in court. So I just testified in court 2 weeks ago in a divorce case. I testified about the value of the house and got court approval while on the stand because the judge was very impressed with the RPR report. If I would have gone in with a CMA that's a one-page that says, based on this, here's the price per square foot, those don't do anything. Usually the client's then going to have to go pay $400 or $500 to get an appraisal done. The attorneys love the idea that we can get these done in a very short period of time, and the first question they always ask is, how much do these cost? I say they cost nothing. We do it for free. In fact, legally, we can't even charge them anything for it. I had one attorney, I don't know if this was a test to see if I was ethical or not, but he says, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to charge me $200 for each one of these that you send over, and I'm just going to go ahead and bill my clients for it, and I'll put that into the billable hours. I said, I don't know if that was a test or not, but I can't do that. I'm going to have to give these to you for free. What you do with them is something else. So we tell people that we can put these together in about an hour and have them to them in a PDF format on email in an hour. But if they would like to have them nicely spiral bound like this, so it's something that's presented in court as an exhibit, then all we have to do is call our partner lawyer's title and say, hey, Madison, we need these, or whoever the lawyer's title. Yeah, I'm sorry. Madison just happens to be my person. I'm programmed. But anyways, we just say, hey, we need these, and they're couriered back over to us the same day. Those of you that haven't looked at these before, the unique thing about this compared to just a market analysis is it allows you to go in and make adjustments on properties based on what's happening with the property, how it compares to others, just like appraisers do in the real world. One property has a fireplace and the subject doesn't, so more value is added to the property that has the fireplace and value is kind of subtracted from the one that doesn't, right? Same thing with the pool, same thing with upgrades. When you do a CMA, you really can't do that unless you kind of pick and choose which comps you want. But in this, you can use all the comparables, but then you can go in and you can make adjustments, and it gives a little sliding scale here where you can say, based on the market conditions, this is like a really super hot area, not such a hot area, the home exterior, how it compares to others, the home interior, the lot size, the view, the privacy, and then it has refined things down here where, for instance, there was a remodeled kitchen that was done back in 2008, and they spent approximately $20,000 to remodel their kitchen. Well, we all know that when you do something like that, you don't get a dollar per dollar value increase. So what the system does is based on the date and the amount, it prorates it. So in this situation, it gave a $6,460 credit for that $20,000 remodel that was done 10 years ago. Okay, so you can go in and make those kind of adjustments. So when I sat on the stand 2 weeks ago in court and the judge started asking me specifics, I could tell him specifically where my numbers came from. I could also show him exactly what comparables were used on the map, closest in proximity. Basically the same thing as an appraisal. We just can't call it an appraisal because we're not certified licensed appraisers. But these things are mind blowers for those type of clients. You can put these together, and this is part of the Ninja thing. We put these together for some of our past clients. Maybe somebody that you purchased a house for a year ago, or somebody that you were helping previously, and go by and say, hey, and I told my own daughters about this, who are also real estate agents, and said, in your neighborhoods, you guys have all these friends, you ought to print these up and go by and say, hey, I know you're probably not thinking of selling right now, but you might want to know what's happened with your equity since you've lived in your home. Take a look at this. And they said, this is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, being able to take around these RPR reports. It doesn't take a lot to put one together. Honestly, once you've got the whole little template set up, you can go through and you can probably do one of these in 10 to 15 minutes. Anybody that's put them together have a different time? Is it taking you longer? Can you do them quicker? About 10 to 15 minutes is about accurate. But it looks like you spent hours and hours and maybe days putting all this together. And again, you can tell them it's based on data that you pulled off of it pulls in the census reports, it pulls in the tax records, it pulls in MLS. And now the question comes up like, but what happens if something's wrong? What if we overanalyze this? What if they remodeled the kitchen and we don't know and they're upset because we didn't give them credit for it? That's actually a good thing because they can say, oh, well, I don't think this value's right because we remodeled our kitchen last year and that's not reflected anywhere in here. Then your response could be, that's fantastic. I'm glad you told me. Could I come see the house in person? Because it's exactly why I would like to make adjustments to this. This was only based on data. If I can see it myself, then I can make it much more accurate. I can zero in on a number. Yes, sir?
Do you ask for receipts, or you just go about what they tell you, how much they spend?
Just go by what they tell you. Same thing that we're going to end up doing if we end up listing the property. You may have to put together something with receipts. People start throwing out, I think I spent this, roughly this. This is all contingent on their numbers being accurate. Same thing that we all have to deal with. When an appraiser comes out, they're not always going to look at receipts either. They're going to look at the work that was done and see if does it look like it was a $20,000 remodel or does it look like it was a $5,000 do-it-yourself job. So yeah, you're going to have to make some judgment calls in there, kind of up to your discretion. But some of the attorneys are very fascinated with some of the other information that is produced by this because this is information that also comes from the census records. I can go in here and I can tell them what people in the community voted Democrat and which ones voted Republican and by percentage. I can tell you what the school test scores were for a particular school district in an area. I can pull one of these for a house. I can pull one of these for a subdivision. I can pull this for Arcadia, let's say, and say, okay, here are the values in Arcadia. This is where everything's going. Here are the school demographics. This is how many kids are in K through 8. I can tell how many are voting conservative versus voting more liberal.
Have you tried on commercial? Because I've seen it on the commercial side.
I personally have not done this in commercial. So we work with a commercial agent. If he uses something like this, I'm not quite certain. Aaron Dutcher, those of you that know Aaron through my home group, but I'm not sure if Aaron's using this or not. I just know how to use it through residential. Yes, sir.
I'm curious when you said pool, no pool, or fireplace or whatever. Who's coming up with the number for that cost? Does it have an evaluation? In other words,
yeah.
So
good question. Very good question.
The pool, it'll give you X amount for pool, but and how old? Just say when you do with the kitchen or something.
Mm-hmm. Here's what's going to happen. When you run the report to begin with, the system itself is going to give you a number. Just like similar to Zillow, but here's the difference with Zillow. Zillow is not allowed to pull values directly from the MLS. All they can pull is sales prices, and they can pull square footages, and then they have to calculate themselves. This system will go in and pull in a lot of other data to be able to come up with this, and then it'll give it a star rating, tell you how confident they are in the number. In this case, this one is 5 out of 5 stars are highlighted. So the system feels very confident because this is a subdivision. It's more of a standard tract home type subdivision, so it's easier to come up with a number. If this was something that was out in the country and it was on a couple acres and it was a custom home, then obviously it wouldn't be quite as confident. Then you're able to go in and you're able to make some refinements to it. So this is to answer your question. So you would go in and say, it has a really nice pool, they did this, they did that. Based on the things you add, it refines the value. Then you're able to go in and find the comparables, and the comparables can either be the same ones the system used or they can be completely different comparables. In some cases, what I've done is I've gone to MLS and I've searched for things making a really small little radius, and I get the MLS numbers, and then I go tell the RPR system, here are the comparables that I want the system to use. Then you can go in and you can adjust the comparables. This one has a pool, this one doesn't. This one has a 3-car garage, this one only has a 2. So you really end up with 3 numbers on here. You end up with a system number, a refined number based on what you know about the property, and then the comparable analysis number. Now ideally, they should all be fairly close to each other. And used to be, I would tell clients when I would run numbers, just doing a regular CMA, I'd say, I pull numbers 3 different ways. I usually pull Zillow not because I think Zillow is accurate, but because that's what the general public uses to pull it. So I want to know what the general public thinks the property's worth. I'll pull MLS because I have access to MLS and I can see what that shows, and then I will go pull the tax record information, and I'll have the tax record do the comparables, and I'll do 3 different ways so I can kind of triangulate around the price and make sure I'm fairly consistent. Well, this system does that all within one system. It's got the Zillow type thing, it's got the MLS type thing, and then it's got the one where you can actually go in and make the adjustments. And it could be as, you can zero in on it as much as you can, but we tell our agents on our team, don't get paralysis by analysis and be so worried about zeroing in on this. The main thing is to walk in and put it in somebody's hands and say, this is what I'm capable of producing for you. If you want more information, invite me back. I can see your house in person. Because again, this is all about the relationship. We're setting up relationships here. We're not just going in to chase a deal. We're giving them something that's going to attract them to us because they know we can provide them with something that other agents typically can't do. And as Jenny said, according to the National Association of Realtors, only 6% of licensed agents are even using RPR. So even though a lot of you raised your hands and said you know all about RPR, there's only probably a small percentage of those hands were raised that are actually using it on a regular basis.
So if Zillow had this, they'd have more accurate information then, right?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
So if Zillow gets their hands on it, they have more accurate information.
But Zillow can't get their hands on it.
No,
Zillow
not
can't
yet. So
do
he's
it.
giving it to you, right?
Yeah. This is something that you guys all have access to as part of your dues that you're paying through your association.
Yeah.
You have access to it. I've used this for regular meeting appraisers and sitting down with appraisers when I go in. I'm trying to justify. I've had 2 properties lately. This never happens. That I didn't think there was a snowball's chance that these things were going to appraise. And I went in and I put together an RPR report and I did everything I can to show the value as high as I could and explain what this was to the appraiser and handed it to the appraiser. I'm not saying this is what did it, but both of them appraised. And there's no way that that would have normally happened with what I typically provide somebody with. I had to get a lot more detailed with it. Any other questions on RPRs? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I use it a bunch, and I use it in comparison site, Cloud CMA as well. But I'll go in and pull my comps in MLS and then, analyze it that way. But that is probably the most accurate system there is. And I also put it on my phone for those of you who decide to use it, which I highly recommend. Because I have it on my phone so that if I go show properties and someone says, hey, how does it compare? What is it comparing to? I can just pull it right up on my phone and it gives you all of that information in seconds. And it's a huge tool.
So I didn't plan on having a visual aid in showing this. I just happened to have one in my briefcase or in my bag because I always have one in my bag. In fact, I've got a few of them in my car. I carry these with me everywhere because when I have any kind of conversation with a business professional, specifically attorneys, I want to be able to pull one of these out and explain to them what this is and send them home with one. So we've got these things with Jenny's house all over the valley right now. Everybody's got one of these in their office. So super, super valuable. And again, just to put this into context, what we're doing here, we're going through the key Ninja 9 points that you learn over a 4-day period, really drilling down, because we spend a lot of time on RPR, and we're probably taking more time now than we really have allotted for this in this little crash course we're doing. But if you don't know about this, get more information about it. If you want more, come see us, and we can talk to Mark and Jeremy and see about getting Amanda in here to do another class on it. I think if everybody knew how valuable these things were, we would have like non-stop classes on RPR through here. Huge for the Ninja.
Yeah. So recapping, the first part of the Ninja Day is really about getting your mindset, where it needs to be positive and making those calls. And then now we're going over how to get business. So the RPR is truly your Popeye in the Ninja system. And they tell a story about a woman who, her husband left her, she had 2 kids, she had to move into her parents' basement, and she completely built a business doing RPRs and just picked a farm, picked an area, and just started giving them out. And it really, really works. Wow. And so the next, and honestly, they have all kinds of tools in their systems where at the end of the day on Friday, you can literally check, did I give out 2 RPRs? Did I contact 50 people? If you check all the boxes on Friday at the end of the week, you can feel like, yes, I did my lead generation. I did what I was supposed to do to keep my business running. The 50 live contacts, my word for the second half of 2018 is networking. So I am really focusing on getting our agents into networking groups, not necessarily BNI groups, but any kind of, there are so many really cool networking groups. We're really focusing on Toastmasters right now. I want people to be able to talk to their clients and be able to go off the cuff if that client says, what do you think my house should be priced at? Or what do you charge? I want my agents to not stutter or have any kind of problem answering those questions. And so we are focusing on Toastmasters as one of our networking groups. And then there's also other ones out there that some of them are expensive, some of them are not, but they help you grow as a person. And they also get you in front of 50 live contacts, whether you're a part of a chamber or otherwise. I don't see how anybody could get, has a database that's big enough to actually call and talk to 50 people a week over and over and over. But if you do, good for you, and that's what you need to be doing, right?
Associations.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Your database, so you need to be calling your database, and of course, like we just said, the RPRs and the networking groups and all of that will help you add to your database. And just so you know, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this number, you are supposed to be making $2,000 a year per person that's in your database. So if you have 200 people in your database, $2,000 a year per person in your database. That's what you should be making if you are following up with people and getting the referrals you should be getting. Is anybody in here doing that? Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. Okay. All right, so I want to talk about trust, and the reason I want to talk about trust is because I think it's a core piece of why people do or don't come back to us. And so there's 4 elements to trust, and the first is character. People want to know, can I count on you? Are you going to do what you say you're going to do? Pay attention to whether people pay attention to whether you come to the meeting on time, or if you say you're going to send them something or do something for them, whether or not you do it. Clients really pay attention to that, and it does matter as far as trust. The second is confidence. Are you confident? Do you have the skill sets to do this business? I was just talking to a friend of mine. She works for the city of Mesa, but she got her real estate license. So she's out there doing a little bit of real estate on the side, and she was telling me she was so excited she got her first sale. And I said, that's great. She said, yes, but I had to write 6 offers to find these people a home. And she started walking me through the process of all the offers and the houses that she didn't get her clients in. I said, well, Liz, I said, do you know about the escalation clause? And she says, well, I do now. And I said, yeah, like, see, she's new. She doesn't have the skill set to be, she's working for the city of Mesa and she's being a realtor, right? And so people need to know that you can deliver the goods, that you know what you're doing in addition to character. The third is capacity. Do you have the time for me, right? So many people walk around telling people how busy they are, but people want to know that you have time for them, and that's when they can feel like they can trust you. And the fourth is consistency. So we need to be consistent in who we are and how we dress and how we behave, because people, if they like you and you know, they like your character and you've got good skill, they'll use you again. But what we want is referrals, right? And if you're not consistent, they're not going to refer you business, because people only refer those who make them look good, right? And we as agents know that. I have an agent on my team. He closed a house. The people were very happy with him. They asked him for a window washer. So he sent him a name, and then his client called mad because the window washer dripped water through his house. And so now he had a great transaction, and they closed, and everybody's happy. But at the end of the day, his referral made him look bad, right? So that goes for us too. We need to be consistent all the time. And sometimes I think about that when, I don't know about you guys, but I hardly ever get referrals from my family. and my closest friends. I'm like, why don't they refer me? They use me, but they don't refer me. But they probably see a different side of me. They see the mom in me, you know, when I'm running around crazy, and they see the sister in me or the daughter in me, and they don't know who I am as a businesswoman. And so sometimes I think about that. So just think about how many people are in your database, and how much money are you making, and is it consistent? Because if it isn't, we might need to work on one of these 4 things. All right. We've got one more closing video. We love this. Is another good one. Did you guys like the first video? This one's really good too.
Folks, my latest book, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, has hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. I'm very proud of the book, and not just because it's doing well, but because it has the potential to help so many of you find fulfillment, which is the reason I wrote the book in the first place. I want to talk to you about a chapter in the book, chapter 3, which I entitled, Take the Lid Off the Jar.
Just listen.
Hold on a
Those of
second.
you who
Steve is jumping all over the place
you're
here.
very familiar with, they have the possibility of catching.
There it is, but why is he jumping all over the place?
Maybe it'll work now. You just had to pause it.
No, I need to go.
This is really good, you guys.
Yeah, it's
We
really,
don't want to skip
isn't
it.
it awesome?
Just leave it.
Folks, my latest book, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, has hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. I'm very proud of the book, and not just because it's doing well,
listen.
but because it has the potential to help so many of you find fulfillment, which is the reason I wrote the book in the first place. I want to talk to you about a chapter in the book, chapter 3, which I entitled, Take the Lid Off the Jar. Those of you who own a pet, a dog, you're very familiar with, they have the possibility of catching fleas. Fleas are one of the smallest insects. Fleas have one of the highest vertical leaps of any living insect based on their size. A flea has a 36-inch vertical leap. Now, if you capture a flea and you put it in a jar and you put the lid on the jar, that flea still has a 36 vertical leap. So it will start jumping in that jar until it hits his head. And once it hits his head, he starts making adjustments. So then the flea reduces his jump, and he jumps just high enough to where he almost touches it, but he don't hit the lid and get knocked back down. Now, if you put another flea in there, that flea has a 36-inch vertical. And then once they find out they get knocked down a little bit, that flea starts jumping just before the lid so it don't get knocked down. Funny thing happens. If these fleas have baby fleas in a jar, these fleas are born with a 36-inch vertical. But because their parents are showing them only a 4 or 5-inch jump so they don't get hit, these baby fleas who are born with 36-inch verticals, they jump just as high as their parents jump. And what we do as people is we do the same things. We allow our environment to dictate to us. We allow our friends to dictate to us, our circle of associates to dictate to us how high we jump. When I was in the 6th grade, the teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up. And she had everybody write an assignment on a piece of paper. I wrote down on a piece of paper I wanted to be on TV. She called everybody's name and had them stand up at their desk, and when she got to mine, she said, Miss Steve, come up to the front of the class. I'm thinking this is a great moment for me. I've written something on my paper so wonderful that it's better than all the rest. I'm going up to get a gold star. I got up there, she said, why did you write that on your paper? And I said, because that was our assignment for today. She said, but why did you write it on your paper, though? I said, because I want to be on TV. Then she just started breaking me down. Who do you know on TV? Anybody in this school ever been on TV? No, ma'am. Anybody in your family ever been on TV? No, ma'am. She just destroyed me in front of these guys. I thought I was getting a gold star, found out I wasn't. I was heartbroken. She reported me to my parents and I'm being a smart aleck in class, sent me home with the no pens on me. I got home, I'm thinking I'm in a world of trouble. My mom tells my dad that I've been a smart aleck in class and I'm writing down stuff that's unrealistic. He said, well, what did you want to be, son? I said, I wrote on my paper, I want to be on TV. He looked at my mother and said, well, what's wrong with that? She said, because the teacher says that's unreasonable. He said, how does she know? And that was the first moment that I found out that my father, who had a third grade education, who my mother taught to read and write, I said, man, this guy's on to something. So he told me, what did she want you to write? I said, a policeman, a fireman, or a ball player. She said, write that on the paper and give it back to her. She said, but every morning when you wake up, take your paper, put it in your drawer. Read your paper every morning when you wake up, and read your paper every night before you go to bed. If you turn your TV on today, the little boy in his 6th grade is on TV. Because my father informed me, son, take the lid off of your job. And that's what the book is about, is to help people understand no matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, you can take the lid off of your job. And if you're wondering if you still have the lid on in your life, here are some clues that's going to let you know that the lid is still on. If you're not excited about waking up in the morning, if you're sitting around bored out of your mind, if you got time to do everything anybody asks you to do, you probably got the lid on. If when you tell your dreams to all your friends, it makes sense to them, you got your lid on, man. Your dreams should not make sense to everybody. You got to say something that make people go, how you going to do that? That's when you got the lid off. And if I were you, I'd do that. I'd take the lid off. Makes sense to me, don't it? We'll be right back, folks.
That's why you all are here, to mastermind with people, right? And be in a room with people that are moving and shaking.
So sorry about our choppy video.
Yeah.
We tested everything, but we didn't test it in this room with this Wi-Fi, so obviously we need to rethink that. Okay, so what we tried to do is put together here what the 9 ninja steps are that you can get, again, in just a very brief little snapshot of this. Try to explain how all this ties in with mindset, with everything. Obviously, the video from Sean Aker about happiness is all about the mindset of happiness and believing that what you can and are capable of doing. And all this about Steve Harvey is saying, don't let people tell you what you're capable of doing. You decide yourself what you're capable of doing. And when it comes to working with the right amount of people and having your business model and having your business, you're the ones that should be deciding what that's going to look like based on your own passions. Don't let somebody else tell you this is the system that you need to buy, this is how much money you need to spend, these are the people that you need to call, or whatever. Make sure it's something that fits for you. If this is something that sounds like, yeah, I'd like to know more about ninja selling, and let me tell you real quick where ninja selling came from. It doesn't mean like secret selling. Originally, the first guy that was doing this, they kind of nicknamed him the ninja, because they never really saw the guy, but he would show up in the office with a whole stack of files for open and escrow, and then he would disappear again. And they started calling this guy the ninja. So when Larry Kendall ended up writing the book, he kind of used this one agent as like the model for it and called it ninja selling. Doesn't mean that it's something secretive or something that we're doing behind the scenes. It's just a way of selling people without making them feel like they're being sold. It's attracting them. So what are the next steps? What do you do? First thing is, if you're interested, get the book. We've talked about the book a lot. There's a ninja selling website. You can get the book. I think it's $25, $24.99 or something.
And Amazon sold, like Amazon is back ordered. You can't even get it there right now.
I got mine at Barnes & Noble. Is that right? Is that the ones? Is that the ones that are still open? Barnes & Noble? Yeah. I just went and got it right off the. One of them's gone. One of them's still there. I just went and got it right off the shelf at Barnes & Noble. I told them what I was looking for, and they walked right over and grabbed one. So I know that they had those there at one point at the Barnes & Noble. But get the book. It'll give you a lot more detail about it. It's the whole system, the whole program, all in one.
It has amazing buyer and seller questionnaires, too. Like I've never seen before, you guys. I've been in the business for 14 years. And It just really helps you draw out questions for them, that if you had a magic wand and things like that. So we are really just, literally, this is just a snippet, and the only reason we wanted to do this is because we want to bring an installation here, but you need at least 50 people. Our team's 15. So we want to get the word out there a little bit and let other people know about this, because it's really not well known here.
So another kind of little anecdote, I guess. When we went with our group and we had to again fly out of state and spend money on hotels and a big rental bus and everything to haul us all around, then we got a VRBO, and it ended up costing each one of our team members about $1,500 to be able to go. It was in North Lake Tahoe. If we did it here, obviously it's a fraction of the price. We found out that Sotheby's was going to be doing one here. So the first thing we said is, well, let's get the rest of our team in with the one in Sotheby's, and as soon as they come up with a date, then we'll just see if we can send them over there and they can save all this money. Sotheby's sold theirs out with 120 people in 4 hours. Gone. So they called us and said, sorry, you guys can't come. It's all Sotheby's. And that's when Jenny and I thought, well, okay, we need to go talk to Mark and Jeremy and say, can we do our own? If they're going to sell it out in 4 hours, how much interest can we get here with my home group? But this is all something new. This is going on around the country, and I found out that there's I think 10 of these a month going on in different parts of the country. It's just something that's all brand new to Arizona. You'll start hearing it probably through Sotheby's, but we could be doing it just as easily through my home group here. So first thing, read the book, go get the book, hit the next one, Jenny. Or go to an installation, and again, if you get onto the website, the Ninja Selling website, there's a lot of information there. There's a lot of YouTube videos there. There are interviews with Larry Kendall, who's the author of all this, that does a lot of explaining. So between the book and the website, you can get plenty of information, and also from the installation. And then
they even have planners. So everybody on our team has a planner that they can literally, like, everything they're supposed to do every single day is in the planner. And it's so nice because you can just check off and you know you're doing what you're supposed to do, and then you can go do your laundry, right?
So in the installation, what we all got a backpack as part of our registration fee. We got a backpack. Inside the backpack was a copy of the book, in case you didn't have a copy of the book, but I was able to let other people use my book. You get a workbook, which is about an inch thick, that you go through all week. It's broken into 4 days, as I said. The first day is really about mindset, and getting everybody in the right mindset, understanding some of the positive stuff that we did, like the Sean Aker thing at the beginning. The second day is more of kind of like how you think and how you want to deal with people, and being able to attract the right type of clients. And then we spent a full day, I think, on buyers, and we spent a full day on sellers. And all of it, and there's some script type stuff in there. We spent time going out and calling some people in our database, but we didn't call them about real estate. You remember how, any of you ever had Bold from Keller Williams? We're previously Keller Williams. So if you're from Bold, you call people and you say, hi, this is Kevin Craig from Bold. I'm just wanting to call and see if you know anybody that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I can call today. Does that sound familiar? Okay.
Yeah.
Ninja, you don't talk about real estate. I was thinking about you today, wondering how you're doing, wondering when the time that we might be able to catch up. I send a lot of messages out to some of the business professionals just saying, hey, I want to know if we can get together for a Coke or a coffee, just to have a time to catch up on stuff. And I don't mention real estate. I don't tell them I'm going to try to pitch something to them. And all I do is I bring and say, hey, I want to show you this really cool tool that I've got, this RPR report type thing. And I explain a little bit about the RPR report, and we're done. There's nothing threatening about it. That's why when I put the thing on the Facebook post for the my home group, and I said no rejection, there's no rejection, because you're not pitching anything to anybody. You're not trying to sell them anything. They don't reject it because all you're really doing is just having a conversation with them. You're just talking with them. We've had some amazing conversations with people that always ends up resulting in business, but we don't have to go out and ask for business. And in Bold at KW, the thing is, you always have to ask for business. You always have to ask. I don't believe that. You don't have to ask. You just have to have a relationship with somebody, and then we'll come back to you. And the very last slide, talk to us. We're easy to find. We're on the mastermind group with my home group. We're in and out of this office. Our office is right over on Main Street, right next to Maley's on Main at Scottsdale and Main Street. You can come in there. We're both there Mondays, Tuesdays, most time Wednesdays, unless we're doing something like this. But you're welcome to talk to us, and we can give you lots more information about it. Be happy to show you some of our materials. In fact, my workbook right now is up in Mark Hutchins' office. He's had it for 2 weeks. I'm going to go get it back from him when we get done here. He's been hoarding my workbook that's got all my stuff in it. So if you need any more information, and importantly, if you know somebody else that you work with that might be able to benefit from this, please contact us, let us know. Even send us an email or a text saying, hey, this is something I'd be interested in, because we're trying to get a feel for, could we put together our own installation and justify having it right here in the valley and get enough people here? Obviously, if we can't, we're not going to go down that road.
And how much does it cost?
There's a lot of variables. It depends on where, but to give you an idea, it's usually $7.99 for the course, but then that has to include the venue and everything. If we had it here, this room's free, but you have to have tables. They won't do it unless you have tables set up, and we can't get 50 people in this room, and there's a requirement that you got a minimum of 50, so we can't have it here. So we went to like SAR to see if we could use SAR's big conference room, which we can. It's only $1,600 a day for us to hold it at SAR. And it's $14.25 per person for them to pay for the food, because there's no place to eat there. You have to eat at SAR. So when we start adding up all those numbers, it's almost cost prohibitive for us to go do that unless we can get a lot of numbers and we can find some sponsors like title companies and lenders. And even Mark and Jeremy said, hey, we can help with this, and they've got some ideas of places. But we got to start at the beginning and say, let's find out if we have an interest. We're not doing this to make money. This is actually time out of what we do in order to try to pass this on to everybody else and do a give back. But we don't want to lose money doing it either. And if we have to put up deposits for the food, deposits for the venue, deposits for the speakers to come in and teach this, and then find out that we can't fill the room, then we just made a horrible business decision.
But to answer your question, anywhere between $650 and $800 for the 4 days is basically what it is, depending on where you have it.
And if you've ever taken Bold at KW, it's $800, and this is way beyond anything you'd ever have at Bold. And it'll pay for itself over and over and over again.
There's a really old book that I don't know if anybody's read, called The Power of Positive Thinking.
Mm-hmm. I've heard, yes. Guarantee you she's read it.
They have, what's really cool too, when you do the Ninja 4-Day, they have in the back a list of books to read, business books, health books, emotional, spiritual. It's so cool. Like all the top books ever written, I know that's on the list. And so they give you so many resources. Goddard's life list from, have you guys seen The Bucket List? That movie, The Bucket List? Yeah. Well, one of the things you're supposed to do every day with Ninja is to read your bucket list so that you're inspired. It's like, why am I doing this every single day, right? What the heck am I doing this for? And so it's that. It's really cool. A lot of cool things.
So I do have a question for you, and I know you said just to reach out if, to try to get an interest list, but do you guys have a particular form that gets filled out, or how are you guys keeping track of that so we can pass it along to other people that we think might be interested? Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And no, we hadn't thought it through that far. What I was thinking is if I got a text or she got a text from somebody, we would add it to a list and just keep a running list. If you want to do that and contact us, that's great. Maybe we can get with Kelly and find out if there's some kind of way she can keep a master list someplace.
Keep a list in my, I want to keep it in my computer. I can make a folder. So I'll have my cards up here, and truly, like anybody that's interested, I'm going to have a Ninja folder that we'll keep, so that we were thinking December, January. It just depends. Sotheby's is having a second one. They're doing this worldwide. This is going to be their new system because it aligns so much with luxury. And so I love that we could be doing it too, right? So yeah, let's get our own. We'll put it together, but we just didn't want to put it together first and then hope people would come. We want to, hey, how are you? But anyway, so let us know if you're interested. My cards are up here, Kevin's cards are up here, and I'll start a folder.
And Mr. Dyer's ready to come in and do his class, so we're going to let him come in. We're going to get out of the way. So thank you guys very much for coming.
Thank you. It is so
I don't yeah,
You guys all sign in?
I'm sure he'll follow up.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah.
Unless you got it now.
And so we're
Watch guy with you, so
Okay,
what is this?